just kind of go with me on this. It's about a bullying situation. This is picture a little boy with pale white skin, crooked teeth, horrible allergies, ADD, epilepsy, depression, and anxiety disorders. Yet when he was tested for his IQ, he ranked super genius. He had the biggest heart, and all he wanted was just for people to like him. In fact, he used to get down on his hands and knees and pray to God, bargaining off his intelligence just to be more popular. When his parents divorced, he was 11 years old, and he had what the doctors feared to be a nervous breakdown. The doctors wrote, and I quote, "If this boy feels that he doesn't do it perfect, then he feels that nobody will love him." This progressed into his agonizing teenage years, where he excelled scholastically, but was bullied, threatened, and harassed every day. He was called every name that you can think of, and yet the only thing he would pray for is for those people that were bullying him just to like him. All he wanted was a group of friends that he could hang out with that would not make him the butt of every joke. He would get so excited when he would get invited finally to a party, only to realize the only reason they invited him was to trash his car. He was weak and so lonely that he spent many nights crying himself to sleep. He tried to be the best Christian boy that he could be, but he knew that he was gay and that God would eventually send him to hell for being who he was. Not only did everyone make fun of him, dislike him, or hate him, but he hated himself because the only person that was supposed to love him, God, was turning his back on him and sending him to hell. He won several awards in his school for dramatic arts, poetry, singing, math, science, and even went to national competitions and placed in the top 3. But when his principal heard a rumor that he might be gay, his principal threatened to kick him out of school because he went to a Christian school. It was only by assuring the principal that he was a virgin and that he was fighting his gay tendencies that his principal allowed him to finish his senior year. He was in choir, drama, Bible quiz team, assistant youth pastor. He had awards, student after-school care teacher, honor society, mascot for the football and basketball team, soccer team, and worked at the local Kroger. But because of a rumor that he might possibly be gay, he was going to get kicked out of his school. He lost his mind. He got more and more angry each day, and by the time he graduated, he was so mad that he got most school spirit. The teachers and his so-called friends, school, parents, and God were all going to hate him because of how he was born. He had nothing then to top it off. He got kicked out of his house. He was 18, alone, working at a video store with no possibility of college or anything. But apparently he was cute, and many men tried to have him and were very successful. One night, he decided to go meet somebody. He went over to his house, and that guy decided that would be a good night to rape him. He laid there, afraid to fight for himself as the tears streamed down his face, and didn't have the courage to walk out, but stayed the night and waited for that man to drive him home the next day. He was 19 years old and had no future. His best friend in the whole world was his little brother. But when his parents divorced for the second time, his little brother went to live with his sister, and because his sister had Christian beliefs, they were separated for 8 years. I know that sounds really dramatic and overdone, but I know that story is true because it's my story. Today I'm 30 years old. It's been a long time since I even know that person. And I don't like to say that I was a victim of bullying. I like to say I was a survivor. And that little brother that I told you about that I didn't see for years is sitting right in the front row. That means more to me than almost anything that I can possibly tell you because he is the only person that I've known for that long, other than my mother, that I have consistently loved and cared for and who has consistently loved and cared right back for me. Pretty awesome. So the big thing is what changed. How do you go from being somebody so broken, so desperate for approval that you would do anything, even lay there and try to sleep next to your rapist? Well, I learned that along the way, being who I wanted, being who other people wanted me to be, wasn't working out. And so I was going to be me, and I was going to figure out who I was. And I had no clue because I had spent so many years trying to figure out what other people wanted me to be. Because their approval was the only thing I thought was going to get me through this life. I learned a few things. First of all, I read the Bible. Read it several times. Still not convinced that I'm going to hell. Not for being gay, but for other things. I have no reservation that God loves me. That's the first empowerment. Knowing that beyond what anybody will say or do, that you have something out there that's strong and sturdy. That was the base of my foundation. Secondly, I started to go out in the world and realized that it wasn't like high school, and that I would meet people that were like me, that believed the same things I did, and started building really amazing friendships. And when those friends would look and talk to me and be like, "You're so awesome, Thomas. I love you, Thomas. You're awesome. You're so funny. I love being around you." I'd be like, "Why? Like, where did this come from?" But I was being me, and it was the first time people had seen me. And I started doing drag. And let me tell you, that'll teach you to stand up for yourself beyond anything else in this world. Because not only do you have to deal with hecklers in the audience and people screaming and yelling obscenities, but walking through Walmart in full drag, it's not easy. So I just used to have fun with it. I'd be walking by, and of course you get like, "Damn! Yeah, Mommy, is that a boy or a girl?" And I just look and I'd be like, "What's up?" "Oh yeah, go Titans." But getting through that, it was very funny. But what happened was that drag persona started to take over my whole life. Because that's where my self-confidence kind of moved to. And I did perform last night as Anastasia to represent people that are transgendered and bullied, because it's very, very difficult to look like you're both genders, or to be obvious that you're in drag and have to walk through this world just being who you are. And I think that if you have that kind of strength, instead of being bullied, you should be honored. Because it's not easy. But aside from all that, my one dream when I was little, and I used to tell this to my mom, is that I wanted to be famous. Like, I didn't want to be a cowboy, an Indian, a policeman that sweat and work and... Like, I wanted to be famous, but I look at her and go, but I still want to have a good job, because I don't want to be like a starving waiter. Like, I don't want to be that guy that's like, "I'm going to get on stage tonight and hope to God I get somebody to give me the gas money to get home." Because I wanted to take care of business. And I got my own house at 24, which was awesome, because I was addicted to crystal meth at the time, which shows you that I was still dedicated to where I was going to go. Which, by the way, if anybody tells you that the reason they did something like knock off a liquor store is because they were high, that's bullshit. That's their character. It's just amplified. Because I've been higher than. Like, I can tell you that there are arguments I've had with wallpaper border and lost. I colored an entire Muppet Babies coloring book in 4 days and not yet went to bed, but I did get a house. Then one day at work, after not doing drugs for a couple days, passed out at work. In the toilet of the Kroger. Don't you know how all the celebrities feel now? It was awful. I mean, I was working at the bank in the Kroger. I had progressed in 6 years. I had moved from the Kroger to the bank in the Kroger, so that was impressive. So I'm not saying that crystal meth will get you far. But I passed out, went to the doctor. Doctor asked me if I did any recreational drugs, and I was like, "Well, yes," and I was proud of it. And she was like, immediately they had to put me and check my heart, make sure there was no damage. I had to get an ultrasound on my heart. And luckily enough for me, I hadn't done any damage by that time, but that scared the shit out of me to think that I would be 26 years old with heart damage that I had done to myself. So drugs went away. And the more and more I did drag, the more and more I started going out, and my name was Anastasia Beaverhausen. My nickname was Beaver. And everybody started calling me Beaver. So I was no longer Thomas. I was a mixture of the two personas. And that didn't set well with me. So I was like, I'm not going to do drag anymore. I don't know what I want to do, but I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to pursue it. I'm not going to compete anymore, even though I was Miss International in 2007. Just that. I had plateaued. But going through that, I went through a year and decided that I needed to take time and give back to my community. Because the gay community had supported me, or her, and me in several different ways. And so I started doing things, working with the HRC, and started doing things for, which helped with the dinner, which was really great because those tickets are expensive and I got a free one. And I got to do the Nashville AIDS Walk and help raise money with the bank that I worked at, which I was very, very proud to do. And then it started to really get me that I wanted to do stand-up comedy. But I didn't know how to get into it, because I'm not going to say the name of the club, but you have to bring like 4 friends, and you have to like send an email on the 3rd Monday of the month, and you got to do all this stuff. And I was like, it shouldn't be this difficult. So I went and did another benefit called the Red Dress Run, where a bunch of people put on a red dress and they basically run through Belmont campus. But we raised money, awareness, and everybody had a dress on. It was that night that I met somebody who had become a very dear friend, a big brother, and somebody that inspires the hell out of me, and that is Peter Depp. And Peter was in, because, I have friends that are the bougie fags with money. So, like, they had a limo, they weren't running. And I got them, and that's where I met Peter, was in the limo. I'm not saying he's bougie, I'm just saying that he knew people, and that's okay. So, and we became friends because he had cigarettes and I didn't know where to put them in my dress. Because I was used to being in drag with a purse. So, he told me that, he did stand up. I looked him up online and I thought he was incredible because I loved how he was so brazen about who he was. Because I was like, it's not easy to get up and tell people you're gay to come out. Like, that's hard enough. But to get up in front of crowds you don't know consistently what they think, what they feel, where they are they bullies, are they going to beat you up, and just talk about who you are and slam it in their faces is brilliant, and I think that's courageous. So I ran into Peter at the gay bar not too long after that. Because, that's where we go to recharge our battery. I call it our girl. It's our gay under-lighting, radiating light. That's why gay people can see in the dark. Glow sticks are just props. But he told me to come do it at Spanky's. And so I chickened out the first week. And then I did what is like the most empowering thing ever is I posted it on Facebook. Told all my friends to come, so now I had to do it. Which is the only really good thing I found about Facebook, other than the fact that you can get in touch with people that you wouldn't normally talk to, but they might have a truck or be HVAC certified, so you might need to call them over. But I went up and did stand-up for the first night. It was incredible. It changed my life, because for the first time I saw an audience applaud Thomas. And that was a new experience for me. And without knowing that much about me, Peter supported me and introduced me to people that that next day I got invited to be on the Bully Show because he spoke up for me. Secondly, introduced me to Christy, and she booked me for the Girl on Girl Comedy Night without even knowing anything about me or whether or not that I was funny, but just because I had a friend that vouched for me. At that point, when you start thinking about that, and then on top of that, she booked me for another show without even knowing if I was being funny. She was just like, yes, another gay comic, get to know. And so that was the complete opposite of what I found in drag. Because drag queens, I don't know if y'all know this, but they mean as hell. And they're like, you are doing my song. And I'm like, last time I checked, you were not Whitney Houston. You're wearing a red dress, I'm wearing a red dress. I'm like, well, bitch, it's not like you Skyped me before I got here and told me what you were wearing. But I went from being bullied down every single day to being supported like I'd never been supported before and believed in. And then the test came. First, before I say this, how many people in here, raise your hands, how many people in here have been bullied? How many people have bullied somebody else?
Sure have.
It's amazing how that cycle works, isn't it?
I bullied you last night.
Some people call it karma. I call it, ain't that some shit? It's amazing that when you put things out there, you get that same thing that you put out back. Not like the steakhouse, but you know what I mean. So, I was sitting with a group of friends, and all of a sudden, I got very uncomfortable because there was one of the friends that was not there. And everybody started to do the whole, like, when you're friends, you're like, this person does this. And they're like, yes, and you did it. And I was like, we're not doing this. We're not having it. No, ma'am. I'm already downtown at a straight bar drinking bushwhackers on a Sunday. I feel uncomfortable as hell. These are not my people. And the waitress is, I don't know if she's just not gay friendly or just not on air.
True life.
But what happened was one of those friends went back and told the friend that wasn't there that I stood up for him. He bought me a free drink. Is that not reason enough to stop bullying? I mean, in this economy, with gas as much as it is, and with the fact that I can't do crystal meth anymore, so I smoke and drink. Progress. I got what I needed. He got what he needed. And the one thing that came out of that was the most meaningful to me is the person that I called friend that called me friend knew no matter what happened that I really was there for him and that I would stand up for him. Think of how that would change all of your lives. If the friends that you had knew beyond a shadow of a doubt when the chips were down that you would stand up for them, don't you think you'd be drinking a little bit more and have some more savings? May not be a drink that matters to you, but what matters to me is the good people in my life that I see in my reflection every day when I look in the mirror. When I look in the mirror now, instead of seeing the things that I used to see and criticizing myself and yelling at myself and beating myself up and wondering why I wasn't skinnier or I didn't have enough tan or that my hairline was going back or that my hair wasn't cut the right way or wasn't the right color, I started seeing people in my life like Jessica Carter, who always reminds me that I'm special when I see her, and she's freaking amazing and did an amazing set tonight. I see people like George, who booked me on this show without even knowing me, and has become not only a dear friend, but somebody who inspires me with his messages. People like Peter Depp, who got on national television and told everybody was gay, but it's okay to be gay and to have 3 kids who are amazing. You have all these people that you start to see in your reflection because you don't have to think good about yourself because you remember why they do. And that is empowering. That's love. That's when you can look in somebody's eyes and know that I love them so much that my opinion is so high of that person that if they think good of me, then I must be worth something. Even when I'm down, I can hold truth in that. And I don't know, I see the thing where, bullying is going to happen. Kids are mean as hell because they're not afraid that somebody's going to beat the crap out of them. They might be afraid, but bullies are bigger, typically, and so they don't fear that. And so when people say you got to get a tougher spine, you got to make yourself a little bit harder, I agree with that. But I think the way that happens is with love. If you have a foundation of love, then people can't rock you. You can't be bullied if you're proud of who you are.
Absolutely.
If somebody comes up to me and says, you're a faggot, I'm like, and? Kiss my overused ass. If you say that I'm going to hell, then I will catch you at the pearly gates just to see the shock on your face when Jesus hugs me. If you think that I'm fat, I don't give a shit. I'm not trying to impress you. If you are coming at me and attacking me, guess what? I don't want you in my life. So move on. Go to the other side of the bar. Go find somebody else that wants to deal with your dog and pony show because I'm allergic. And so if I leave you with one thing tonight, I want you to know that if you are being bullied, if you see somebody that's being bullied, if you hear about it, and if people are coming up to you and telling you this thing and you do nothing about it, you are part of the problem. The way that people know that you existed, and Margaret Cho said this, and I believe with her wholeheartedly, is that she speaks her mind. She lets known what her thoughts, her beliefs, what's on her heart. Because if you are quiet your entire life, it's like you never existed. If you don't stand for anything, then what difference did you make? If you want people to know that you're smart, that you're funny, that you're intelligent, even if it's not true, but you think it, you need to tell them. You need to get up in front of people and stop what you think is wrong. Now, just saying, we have Republicans that are doing that. If you think that my lifestyle is wrong, don't be involved with my life.
Tell it. Tell it.
I don't need you to approve of everything that I do. I don't need you to be on my Facebook hitting like on every post.
Tell it.
I need you to delete me off Facebook, which will not hurt my feelings, although I've seen people just crush and moan and cry about it. I don't know, I'm like, really? I'm like, they delete you off Facebook, that's one less person you got to buy a Christmas card for. Move on. So, I thank you very much for listening to my story tonight and helping me get through it. I thank my brother for being here. He drove over an hour just to be at my house today so we could come out for this. I thank the comedians who have come out here and poured their soul all weekend. And the other thing I would like to thank is God, because I'm a gay Christian, and if you agree or disagree with that, that is your own place. But I believe in God, and I'm gay, hence the phrase gay Christian. And it's that simple. So thank you very much. I'm Thomas Prunier.